What up, Challenge fans? We are Final Lines Podcast. We just finished episode 11, Mucus plug.
Yep.
Not my favorite name.
Nope.
But it's also my least favorite name.
Yeah.
It was... The reasoning behind this title is Amanda very briefly told a story about, her giving birth to Kyle, because Kyle's got a kid on the way. And she mentions the mucus plug.
I don't know any other reason why. This segment was 90 seconds?
Maybe, yeah.
And they decided to use the title. But I think it's almost how ridiculous this episode is, so they gave it a ridiculous title. And I don't want to say it in a bad way, ridiculous, but I really don't remember one where we both laughed so hard over and over again. So there was a little bit of ridiculousness, silliness to it. How's that?
Absolutely.
There was silliness to it on their interviews, everything else. So I don't want to say ridiculous, silliness. And so mucus plug, because it is a silly word, and it is not something that sits in your brain. And we both were like pregnant. I was like, wait, I've been through 2 births. I mean, I didn't go through it, but I was like, I should remember that, and I even had to Google it. I'm like, yeah, of course. So there's silliness to it.
Right. Lots of laughing this episode. Lots of TJ laughing this episode.
Yeah, and that's a contagious laugh.
Oh my gosh, I love a TJ laugh.
Well, we both love the spelling bee challenge when they fall, and he always laughs.
The trivia.
It gave us a little, trivia, So to give us that. And then another thing real quick I wanted to say, I always enjoy coming over here to Skylark, and I never want to leave doing the podcast with you. But driving over here today, and I am looking forward to driving home, there are people out there on strike, and I don't care where you fall on it or whatever else, they're standing up for what they believe in John Deere, and I do like giving them a honk just to let them know I see them and I appreciate them. So I'm looking forward to driving home past John Deere and everything else. Again, not taking a political stance anywhere whatsoever, everybody. Just saying you got to respect that they're standing up for what they believe in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about that. So
just honk, say hello.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Right on.
But yeah, it was a fun episode. I really did have a lot of good laughs.
Don't talk to them about mucus plugs.
No, I'm not going to pull over and be like, hey guys, did you watch the challenge on your phone? What do you think about the title mucus plug? Like, get out of here. So,
you weirdo.
Yeah. But I had a lot of fun with this episode, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Right, absolutely. So let's walk through it.
Sure.
Starts following the win of Ashley over Priscilla in the, the tires and whatever that had to happen. Then we have Kyle and Emmy talking. They're in the kitchen. Corey's there too. Immediately I notice that Corey is wearing a t-shirt that's got his kids' pictures on it. It says something along the lines of, you already know why I'm here. Mm-hmm. That was amusing. I found that pretty darn funny. I think I even snorted.
Yeah.
Because that's his thing. He brings up, y'all know I'm here for my kids. We've brought up many times that he's also on a TV show on MTV with his kids. So I liked that he made a little joke about it via his t-shirt.
I liked it too. I think the timing of it was perfect. There is a lot of weird foreshadowing in this episode that kind of adds up. If you were to go back and watch it, you're like, oh, I see why they did that now. Also, it makes me just want to say, okay, are the same producers every time? Or do I need to look at the producers and see, the next ones to be are they always giving little, what do they call them, Easter eggs that you can find something in between? And every time we come to it, you bring something up, I'll say some more. And I will say it to this time here about the shirt, because there's a lot of baby talk.
Oh my gosh.
So the shirt kind of opens it up, you already know why I'm here. So that I guess everybody gets to tell you why they're there.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I think you mentioned it last week. You're like, look, Kyle doesn't even bring up the, he's here for his kids. And well, oopsie daisy. That not until tonight. Mm-hmm. And so Emmy and Kyle are talking, about, they're kind of being sarcastic, cheering about Team Ruby.
Yeah.
Corey doesn't like it because I guess he's the captain because he was the first one there. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you're the first one here. And then everybody comes up and sees you and picks your team.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be that everyone that happens to pick your team is not very good.
Yeah. So he's got to feel a little bit. Yeah.
That's got to make you feel bad. And so he's trying to kind of pull it together and be the, team captain. And I'd said last week how he brought up that the team sucked in the chamber. Mm-hmm. But that's not how you build morale.
No.
Today he tried to bring morale with this this boot camp.
Yeah. You know what?
Ruby Team Boot Camp.
This reminds me of every, like, 13-year-old before, like, Pony League tryout and realizes tryouts are on Saturday, and on Saturday Thursday goes to the batting cage. Or, like, Friday night, like, tryouts are tomorrow, Dad, I gotta go. And they're like, you haven't done anything in the off-season, and, like, you're now all of a sudden it's gonna change everything. And it was just kind of like, all right, I get what he's doing.
It was cute. Yeah. I mean, you got Kyle with a little, like, red ribbon on a, I don't know, stake, and he's, like, waving the red flag, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And, Logan's injured, so he's writing things on a board.
Ruby till I die. Team Ruby till I die.
They got Brittany's work bitch playing.
Yeah.
So they're, it was cute.
It filled time.
Then we go to this montage, not even montage, just several people on the phone.
Okay.
So it starts with Ed, and he's on the phone with his mom, which is adorable. Yeah. We know his mom from The Circle because they were on The Circle together. And I love that she's on a boat.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Listen to me. There's going to be nothing where I'm like, oh, she's a single mom and needs the money to share too when she's on a boat doing the FaceTime. Like, I did not feel like, oh, Ed's going to give money to his mom because
it was like a real boat too. Like, that wasn't a canoe.
Yeah, this was not the Mississippi River or anything like that. They were definitely in the ocean. It's a boat, yeah.
But it was cute. I like their friendship. I like their relationship, maybe not friendship. We got Big T talking to her sister. Mm-hmm. She says she's been trying a lot harder and people still aren't taking her seriously. Then this Nelly moment, and we see his mom, and he just kind of talks about his, like, growing up. He was kind of a troublemaker, hard-headed, which I'm like, still a little hard-headed there. But I heard a little bit of his mom, and she just sounded so sweet.
Yeah.
And I just instantly, I even wrote, like, in all caps, I love her. I love Nelly's mom.
The other thing, he's like, my mom yells at the TV and will be like, TJ, why are you doing that to my boy?
It's over.
Is he that good at keeping the secret? He's like, listen, TJ says we can't reveal the secret. That he's just watching with their mom, and he's like, I can't tell you. You're just going to have to watch. Like,
I fully believe that she is, like, super supportive, has shirts made, invites the neighbors and the family over.
She said that.
Praise about it. I fully believe that she, like, has, like, a huge event every time, and that it's, like, so sweet and so adorable. And I kind of heroed that moment. So when that conversation was going on, I'm like, is this foreshadowing something going on with Nelly?
Yeah. You're on the right page here. When I'm talking about foreshadowing.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we hear the birth story from Amanda. I didn't write down any details. I can't.
Yeah. And we already covered that the Mucus plug is just about the ridiculousness or the silliness of the show.
And this is when we hear Kyle talking about, he does have a baby on the way and all that. Then we have what we've been predicting. Manny and Tori are a thing. Mm-hmm. All these scenes of them together, they're in the pool playing around. They're just, in general, going around being weird together. And I think she'd mentioned, like, I like that we're weird together. That's why I kind of put that there. And he's dressed in, I guess, drag and dancing. And she's like, yes. And he's, like, going down the stairs. And she's like, you work those stairs. And then they're, cuddling in bed. And she says to him, I just love how you don't give a F.
Yeah.
And I kind of like them together.
Sure.
It's strange, but I enjoy it. And she always has had that kind of, like, fun sense of humor.
I think that's when you're with somebody that you consider, like, your best friend and your partner as well. You like that the two of you together don't really give two F's what everyone thinks about when you guys are laughing together or whatever else. You're not a tricycle or whatever else. You have your friendship, you have your relationship together, and you guys get each other, and you don't need everyone else to understand that.
Absolutely. And I think that that's just probably a breath of fresh air for her right now. So I'm for it. You enjoy your challenge romance. Have fun.
Absolutely.
Challenge activated. This one is called Satellite Sabotage, which I am loving the alliteration. So last week it was Diamond Dash. Now it's Satellite Sabotage. So I cannot wait to see what the title is next week.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to deactivate an enemy satellite. Jump from arm to arm, pull the plug. It's, what do you think, probably 30 feet above the air. And there's just these little, I don't know, planks.
Sure.
Varying distances. They get further apart. You got to go to all of them, and then on your way to the last one, pull the plug. You got to jump for it. That was the most important part. You have to jump for it. You can't just like crawl to it. And that's the goal. You want to pull the plug. You want to deactivate this enemy satellite. While this is happening, the other team gets to, spray you with a fire hose.
Yeah. Is this one of those times where TJ didn't really let the audience in too much in the instructions? Because we still were like,
it seemed
wait
pretty
a minute.
simple.
Yeah, but it was the water pressure that we were like, wait, is it on? Is it not on?
Correct.
Okay. And so I think that's the only thing, like, hey, you guys only have like this long until the pressure goes off, so you want to use it in certain
right, and that was something that, it kept coming up, and it just seemed like there were a couple times where there were people where, for example, Casey, I'm like, why? Where's the water for her? I was getting really frustrated. And because I've heard there have been times where things maybe aren't always fair if the producers want it to go a certain way. And I'm like, where's the water? And you're like, no. Like, I think, certain parts they only have the water. So that our hypothesis, to use, science term, and it's not an agent word.
Yeah,
No.
you already said alliteration too, so we're way going
is that maybe the water pressure, so there was only a certain period of time. So Sapphire team goes first. CT's in the first group. Says, going first is hard, but sometimes that helps because then I can show my team how to do it. He's going through, and then there's one point where he's like really looking like he's going to go off to the edge. Got a commercial, and I'm like, oh no. Come back, he completes it.
Sure.
No big
CT.
deal. It's CT. It's CT.
Yeah.
Then we go through the rest of Sapphire. Nelly goes next, and the way he is coming down on the arms is so hard. I literally wrote thud. Like every single one, it was like thud, thud, and I'm like, God, that's gotta hurt.
Well, it's gotta hurt enough to the point where I was like, I wonder if he's wearing a cup.
You would hope
that's
so.
how much he was landing on that, not only on his chest, but because you got to understand the planks are, and I'm assuming the listeners have seen it, but the planks, like his legs are wrapping around too, because he's trying to hold on.
Right.
So he's taking everything from pretty much the chin down on contact, and what his legs are wrapping around his arms. So he's hitting there so he can automatically wrap.
Yikes! And then obviously, as it keeps getting more wet, from people spraying, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it's like, ugh. This would not. It's not one that seems. There's not a million steps. There's not a puzzle. This is kind of like an old school, just get it done.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
No.
Because of the factors, the water.
Yeah.
And then there's people that don't like water over heights. Ed, no success. Ashley just jumps down.
Yeah.
And that just made me so sad. After her being such a amazing, just so proud of her last week, this week she's like, nope.
She's got to know something, like when it's time to just jump or whatever.
Well, obviously she knew. She's not stupid. She knew it was probably most likely a male elimination day. So she's like, I'm safe today.
Yeah. No, seriously. She will take some of these off. She will do things like this. She's like the Kawhi Leonard of these things. She's like, she knows when she doesn't have to bring it. And this one she wasn't letting much of her team down here whatsoever. Because like you said, there's also a selfishness. And I don't want to keep going back on Ashley. Sometimes it's smart. And this one might be because you could get hurt. And we did see Logan in a previous one got injured. So
right. Listen to her on Bananas podcast over the weekend.
Okay.
So we were driving to my cousin's wedding in Champaign. So we had that car ride. And I'm like, hey, let's turn on I heard Ashley's on it. Just absolutely delightful.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely delightful. And she, Bananas is not easy on her. But she takes everything very well. She is very humble. It was enjoyable.
I will check it out tomorrow and I'll report back to you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Bettina, she's pelted with water and gets dropped. Amanda, I'm proud of her. She at least tried. She got maybe 3 of them. She didn't just jump down, but it didn't work out. So Sapphire team just has CT successful. Then we go to Ruby, and now Sapphire's got the fire hose, and of course they give it to CT. Oh, and while Sapphire was going, Emerald had the hose, and so they were having a great time.
Yeah.
And so CT's got it, and he's doing a funny face, and you got Nelly behind him, like going like.
Great, yeah. I was like immediately. I was like, I hope they make a GIF of this. Like,
oh my gosh, yes, That might be not quite as good, but same ballpark as CT throwing the shoe and hitting Wes in the face. That one was a good one.
Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah, this is a good one. Corey's able to successfully get through it. Hits everybody up with a double tall man on the way out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And even says, F you guys. Because I think they must have been really going after him, like getting him in the face. They must have been. Kyle gets through, but then everyone keeps saying, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, to the point where you and I were both like, what?
Yeah, because we didn't know that. You have to make a leap of faith is what.
Right, so he didn't actually jump to it. And make that leap of faith.
Yeah,
he just
jumped on the beam and then pulled it off, and then he went down in the water.
Right. I mean, at least looked like she tried, but it was pretty much right away. She dropped. Big T has an enormous fall.
Yeah.
It was one of like backwards like 2.5 times.
Big T in this, and we talked about it. That you said this isn't easy. This is hard, but. There was a time in there she's like, I know this looks fun, but it's not really. It's hard. But she says it the whole time while she's smiling on the beam, and in her confessional, her one-on-one, she's smiling, laughing. So everybody looked like they were having fun. Spraying them, and even the guys that were getting hit or whatever else, they still were. It looked like they were having fun. I'm sorry. I know it's hard. But at least it is fun to see that they were enjoying what they're doing. And
yes,
it even said, it seemed like the ones that were squirting the water at them were still in a way like, cheering them on. It just seemed like once everybody was like, yeah, good for
camaraderie,
you.
for sure. Yeah. Now, as a contact wearer who's very blind, I would need some goggles. I did not see anyone wearing goggles.
But back to Big T's fall. I kept thinking about what if someone, because every once in a while you'll have that one where you land the wrong way and their knee or that, and then they come up bloody. So I was like, okay, this is interesting.
I know, I was really nervous, but gratefully she made it back around. I think ended up feet first.
Yeah.
She did like 2.5 turns. It was good for her on that. And Logan completes it, which with his injury they weren't sure. But so he did it. So that team had three. Including Kyle.
Yep.
Then Emerald goes, and the first 3, Nani, Tori, Josh, just bunk, all fall. Like, no big deal. And TJ is just he laughed really a lot at Big T. But he just was laughing so much. And with Josh, I don't know why, but I was expecting a little bit more. I think because he's, like, long-limbed.
Yeah, that's what you said. You're like, he should be.
I was expecting maybe he would at least complete a couple more than he did. Nani, it was weird. It was like she didn't quite make it, and then she fell in between two, like at the top. Yeah. Which looked like she could have really like hurt herself, like hitting herself in between.
There were so many people that went before, and it still looked like that she went number 1 overall. Like she didn't really look like she knew exactly any type of strategy what to do to be successful.
Then Casey goes, and she's just amazing.
She is.
She just kills it.
And she does it with grace. She does it with humility. She does it with, she's so beautiful at the time while doing it.
And that's one of those are the things that I love about her.
Yeah, okay, Nani, yeah.
I love Nani, but that is getting a little old.
Yeah, with grace.
Because it's like, it just appears. Anytime they ask her about how Casey did on a challenge, she does all those things, those are the things that I love about her.
Yeah.
And she's so happy, and I love that for her. And it's just, okay. They just went to Disney World last week. It was their first time. It was really cute. Yeah. Soup's cute.
I think there's all these things also with Nani, like when she has her one-on-ones, and not even one-on-ones, just time when she's talking, and it still makes us chuckle because I think it was earlier when she was talking to Ashley after Ashley came back. She's like, I can't believe you didn't go to Emerald after you won. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I really like my team. She's like, I just can't believe, like, I feel like I'm going to be in the final. And we both chuckle. We both are just chuckling like, oh no, like no, Nani, you're not gonna.
I think she said something along the lines of,
I
think this might be my year.
Yeah. We were just like both chuckling, like, oh boy, not happening. Sorry, but yes, great, keep it up. Keep wishful thinking.
Yeah, I thought last year was gonna be her year. I was like all on her team. I was so excited, and then how she performed at the end of the final, that's where I kind of changed my mind. Mm-hmm. So, you're a sweetie. Hey. You are beautiful. I'm so happy you're in a good relationship. Mm-hmm. But I don't think this is your year.
No, but we look forward to seeing you again. Your time.
Oh, look, I'm kind of doing it.
Yeah. We both are just already right now. We're both deactivating her already. Yeah, that's great.
Now I see why TJ does it.
Yeah.
Someone commented on our YouTube, because, I made the joke about it. It's called, like, the Diamond of Power or something?
Is it? Okay.
I don't know.
I like that. All right.
So he's more like this when he says it, I feel like. And I don't know why I'm flexing.
Well, and there's people that listen to this podcast. Yeah, we're putting our our fingers at the tip, so all together making that diamond shape, because he likes to talk like that.
Right.
So listen, agents, and he'll touch them, and then when he gives you the point is there too.
Right.
Did a good job.
And then he twinkles those blue eyes and kind of does the eyebrow.
Yeah.
That's what I can't do it. See, do I look like DJ?
Not at all. No.
For those of you listening, no, it was very embarrassing. So Nani, Josh, Tori, all doesn't work. Casey, amazing. Devin, I wasn't sure. I was rolling the dice. I'm like, I don't know. Can this guy do it or not?
I knew right when he said, like, I'm not all just brains. I was like, okay, he's got it. This guy, there's a lot in this guy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, he's got it.
I was proud of him.
Yeah.
And he has done pretty okay on lots of things.
I don't look at Devin anymore like he's a
layup.
Yeah,
or
he's
whatever.
not he's not an athletic threat. So I don't know where he got that from or whatever else. Because there are certain players that have matured into challengers.
Right.
They realize that they do need to get their body ready for it some way or another. And Devin's one of them. I mean, we could go back to different seasons, but he has matured his body into it. Like, I need to do a little bit of cardio. I need to do a little bit of lifting.
Right.
In between 27 beers and a pack of 6. So.
Are they not allowing, like, any alcohol in the... No, they are having alcohol in the house. It just doesn't seem like there's as much the last few seasons.
No, because I just think that when they go out to the quote-unquote bar or whatever else, that's kind of it. And I'm sure there's
backyard
more
bar.
alcohol, but it's also probably a thing that they are...
They're trying to not...
promote it too much, yeah.
That makes sense. So then at this point... Oh, then Manny goes, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy will have it. No big deal.
Yeah.
Dancer... I'm thinking, he'll be able to, he has the flexibility, he'll be able to jump, doesn't get it. So then they have 2. Sapphire has 1, and then
Ruby
has 3.
But we all know
that Kyle, potentially broke the rules. So we go to commercial. Who won? They said it's a tie.
No, they said you have 3.
Well,
so
right.
Ruby had 3, and then you get the however. Kyle and Kyle goes, that's never good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a chuckle.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's no good. And so then it was tied, and then he's like, whoever did it fastest. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're just like playing with us, and Ruby won. Because at this point, even though I like a lot of the players on Emerald, I'm not into them right now. I don't want them to win.
Yep.
Nope. They are... Nope, not into it.
Too full of themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Emerald did it faster, they won.
Yep.
And then you see that Ruby's all upset. Like, Kyle looks like he's potentially crying. Because, and this challenge was even more important because it was sponsored, like, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was by that protein pack thing.
You all get a flip phone.
Right, oh my God, right? Remember when Brad won the motorcycle? Like, there were some that were really cool.
Yeah.
They always bring that up, that they should bring that back to the challenge because people really liked it. Or you get like Blu-ray players.
Yeah.
Or, like all that. It was probably before Blu-ray. Right?
Your own MP3 player.
Right.
MP3 player.
Yeah. And then there was going to be a cash prize, but they didn't say what the cash prize was. Mm-hmm. Well, they called it like a protein boost. They give you a boost. So then Ruby wins. No, I'm sorry, Ruby loses. Emerald wins, and they find out that it's $3,000. So then Kyle feels bad. Everyone's, Corey looks like he's rubbing his eyes and crying. Emmy's crying. Like, it's just, they are, really upset.
Okay, well...
Well, I mean, Emmy's crying.
Well, let's throw Emmy out. Emmy's crying no matter what. Emmy's crying right now somewhere over nothing. Kyle is upset. This is one of the few times where he doesn't say, I could use the money because I have a baby in the episode. And one of the very few times he doesn't say it. And we also know why Corey's here. So, I mean, the money...
I think he does.
Kyle does it?
I think he did.
I'm probably lying to everybody because he says it so much.
It's a lot this episode.
Yes, it's a lot.
And, I mean, you can visibly see that he looks upset and he feels bad. And then TJ goes, Kyle, you could have easily done this. Like, scolds him.
That's not what you want at all.
And I even looked at you and I was like, dude, like, it's obvious he already feels bad enough. Like, he just really wanted to, like, give it to him, I guess. So Emerald is the agency. Kind of disgusting. It looks like they're in that gazebo area, potentially, or behind the house somewhere. They're all together. And they're just kind of talking who would be potential options. So Logan's the obvious option because he's got that sprained hamstring. So he's, he could be beatable. Ed is another one because he's a rookie. Obviously, no one from Emerald is going to go up, so Manny's out.
Yeah. There's something here that happened. CT was in the bunks. Kyle was there, and...
Oh, yes.
And this is where I started to believe, I'm like, did Kyle throw this?
Oh.
Did Kyle throw this so he gets voted in
to switch teams?
And then he can win to switch teams. And so I'm waiting for the one-on-one to come. Because they're like, which way will you go? Will you go Sapphire? Will you go Emerald? And he's like, I don't know. And it wasn't like, that's an interesting question. He was just kind of like, I don't know, like he's already thought this through.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, the people listening have seen this episode. Sorry if they haven't. But he didn't. But if you really wanted to, if you wanted to throw something, that would have been the situation right there to be like, sorry, I cost you guys 3,000.
Right.
Everyone else, like, I owe it to my team. Put me in, and meanwhile, the whole time, he could just be like, I want off this team, and I think I got a good shot. Now,
well, in last episode, he was all over getting off Team Ruby. Mm-hmm. He was like, I don't want to be here.
It's a huge risk, but I had it in my head. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. After watching, do you think
No, not at all. Not one bit. He's got to get this money for his kid. So he can't take that risk.
Ashley said he comes from money.
Well, you don't get hair plugs, a body full of tattoos, and fake teeth from just, I don't know.
Okay,
collecting cans. I don't know.
I mean, you could always have more.
Yeah.
Of course. So they're deciding, who would they go in?
Hold on, I gotta bring something else up. When we talked about when they did the calls home, Kyle was as well. And his girlfriend tells us all that babies are expensive. So I don't care if it comes from money. That was my favorite. Babies are expensive. And I was like, wow.
Brand new information.
This is great. This is a great segment to have. Okay, good. Yeah.
She looked gorgeous, too. Yeah. Like, you don't know I feel like you don't know when they're calling, and it's video. Is she just, ready all the time?
You have to know. Come on. There had to be some type of production to be like, all we're going to hear is a boat in waves or whatever else. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's get a microphone that works here. And then the only one that didn't was, I believe her name was, I hope I don't get this wrong, but Nellie's mom. Was it Georgia? They just had a picture of her up there.
Oh,
so
maybe
okay. That's the only one that couldn't do it. But yeah, anyway, I digress.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. So then Casey brings up with the group, okay, so, but if we do pick, say Ed or Logan or whatever, will they come to Emerald? Because we want to keep our team together. Which I thought that was a really good question, and it seemed really strange because nobody had brought it up yet.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest question is because you can switch teams when you win. So that's a good call. So we go to the chamber. Kyle immediately apologizes to his team. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, I messed it up for you guys today. I completely screwed up. Takes complete responsibility. Mm-hmm. And then Corey, plays dad. He's like, he was, so nice about it. And he's like, you guys made me proud to the team.
Yeah.
And I was so into it. And then Big T starts coming in about how proud of him she is. And then in my mind, I literally went to Ashley. I was like, okay, come on, enough.
Yeah,
let's go.
Timekeeper.
Let's go. I did it right
great.
away. I'm like, it was cute when it was Kyle. Okay, Corey. Big T, let's move it along.
Yeah.
We're not here to do this. So Ed's so cute and sweet. He just says, I'm the obvious choice. Vote for me. Logan's my friend. He's got this, give him a couple days to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, then again, big question. There's only 4 other options, right? So if he doesn't pick Logan, we're looking at CT, Kyle, Nellie, or Corey. Those are all vets.
Yeah, and it was a great
in
question
every
by
sense
Tori.
of the word.
I mean, I was like, that's good thinking, Tori. That's a good question to have. And CT brings in more humor to be like,
And he's like, are you thinking about anybody?
You think about anybody in particular? You know, just trying to
Which
ease
was so
the situation.
cute.
Yeah.
And so then Logan and Ed are strategizing. And Logan has all these good ideas. He's like, okay, so Corey and Nellie are both not good at puzzles. Kyle can do puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Nellie can do strength. I don't know. He's got all these things.
It basically starts off with Kyle and Corey, and comparing the two. If you see that you have a similar body type of Corey, so if it's strength, you can take that one. If it's a puzzle, I think you take Kyle. But you also have Nellie to think about as well. And he's like, you have a similar body size to that also. And then Kyle comes up to Ed, and he's funny in that too.
Kyle's like, he's like, if you don't vote for me, I'll never vote for you. Not just on this show, like on any show, like ever.
Yeah.
And he's like, so cute. You could just, like, at this point, Ed is doing like an awkward smile.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of choices. And then he's like, well, there's always Corey.
Always Corey. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He said it like that. It was so cute. So still, I mean, we're going into the lair, and I have no idea. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, likely not CT. I don't know who he would go against. And the one that I was thinking would be the most obvious option would be Nellie, because I feel like their builds are similar. But
it's on the same team as him, and I didn't think that was ever going to happen. Now, you have CT, right? And you've got Kyle, and you've got Ed, and you've got Nellie, okay? And then Corey's another one.
Correct.
Now, go back to that video outside of Big T. Who did they video? Who did they send home videos? Who did they show of? Kyle, Ed,
Nellie.
Yeah. They just kind of showed like where it was at. That's what I'm saying. Like, watch what they're doing. Sometimes.
Well, then what was Big T about?
I don't know, because probably they found the one that was in there or whatever else.
To throw off Sarah.
Yeah, because like Corey couldn't get his scheduled or whatever else. So,
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
they were probably filming.
And to throw us off probably too, to be like, oh, his podcast figuring it out.
Well, I feel so dumb. I didn't even, that one I thought it was a time filler.
Yeah, and I was just looking at it later, and I was like, well, maybe. And then as I said, there's a lot of things if you look ahead. Mm-hmm. Maybe they are putting these things together.
I will say, every week before we watch the show and film, I watch last week's episode while I'm getting ready, and it's like I always catch so much more. The second time I catch so much more, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what Jay was talking about. Didn't see that,
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely. So that'll be something for me to watch for when I watch next Wednesday.
Sure.
So Ed is having a real hard time making a decision. He has seemed up until this point so incredibly poised.
Yeah.
And knowing what he wants to do. He has this cute little, TJ pulls him down and he says, I'm gonna put my big boy pants on, decide my own fate, and we're like, okay, let's go. And then he can't make the decision. And you're seeing everybody else's reactions like, come on.
CT's already like, what are you doing? You volunteered and the guy's injured. Like, this is, and then Ash is like, you will not be friends with him in 3 weeks, I guarantee you. And CT's kind of alluding to the same thing. And you even said, you're like, he's like, when he would say, like, I love these guys to death, you're like, you know them all the same time. And by the way, you're not an original cast member. So it's not like they had time the first night to get to know each other or whatever else.
Or traveling over.
Sure. And he just goes on. And Amanda nails another one about, like, just get it over with. Like, I'm just tired of this. Like, come on. So, and he says, I can't go Sapphire, right?
Right. He doesn't want to pick his own team.
Yeah, so then Nellie's free. So it comes down to Kyle and Corey.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he picks Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, we see it's a pole wrestle.
He knew it all along. Ed does not know the history of pole wrestling, I guarantee you.
Because Kyle is a beast at pole wrestle. And also, the height differentiation. I knew that was going to be a factor.
This is an interesting one. I really broke this down in my head as it was starting. And do you want to say anything else as we start going through how the whole thing happened?
There was something I wanted to say about Logan. Logan, said that he was grateful that Ed, volunteered to go in. was rooting for him and said something along the lines of, if I knew how to cry, I would cry.
I missed that one.
He says very strange. Did I
I
say this every week?
I don't know. I need to watch that again because I'm somehow going to definitely say that again sometime in my life.
Right.
My kids are going to do something make me proud, and I'm going to say that, and just watch their reaction.
It was kind of adjacent to, like the Tin Man, if I know I have a heart because it's breaking.
Yeah.
It was adjacent to that in
Sure.
my mind.
I love that analogy, yeah.
But just not quite there. It was, it was a Logan original.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So then going into the elimination and into the lair, Ed does have a wrestler body in my mind. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe this guy has a wrestling background. Okay.
You said it, and he said it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, and before, when they go into the elimination and then they do like all the shots of the person getting ready to compete as they're putting their helmet on with the shadows and they're like flexing and stuff, like they're making like a playing card or something.
Yeah.
That is so unnecessary. Please, I do not need it. Please stop. Please, for the love of God, stop. Remember that one season where like Turbo and Bear and all came and they all had little things that they did and they would animate them? Like it was like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And I'm like, obviously someone in production told all these new people to do these weird things.
Yeah. Like, I remember that so well because it must have been someone from Big Brother. Like, in the beginning of Big Brother, we always make them do something like, and then they make them pose. So like, why don't you guys do it? Yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
Oh, God, it was so bad. And that's just, please stop making them do that before elimination.
The flexing is just a little bit too much.
It's so cringy. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so cringy. Okay, you can go ahead and start talking about the lair now.
he mentions that he's got a wrestler body and he thinks he's going to be good in that. You mentioned it too, and I did see it. But Kyle's lanky, and there is a difference with being tall and lanky and me being shorter to the ground and stockier. I did not like to wrestle lanky guys. So there's a certain way to wrestle them, as we break it down, we'll tell why Kyle wins it. But there was one thing that I was looking at, and it was the first motion that they had, okay? Now, for some reason, Ed's first motion was to pull, and he pulled back, and then he went on the ground. It's not the first thing that you need to do, and not on the wrestling mat, and not in this. It's not, the push-pull theory? Like...
Walk me through it.
Well, it's just like what pushes migration somewhere, pull, whatever else type of thing. But in wrestling, a push-pull is if I push, they're going to push back, and then you can pull.
Oh, okay.
You take their momentum.
That's how you react. Like if a dog's biting you, you put your hand into them so that it opens their jaw. It's kind of like push pull.
Push pull. Because you want to take their momentum, and he falls back, and right away I'm like, he's not a wrestler. So this one right here, this is going to be in trouble. And he puts up a good fight, and then he finally goes around. The other thing is they're all losing their mind when he's picking him up and slamming him. They're like, this is awful, and I was like, no, it's not. That he's wasting all his energy. All Kyle needs to do is duck his chin, and he's taking it with his shoulder blade. He's not taking it with his head. Mm-hmm. Helmet on or not, you don't want that because you can get concussed.
Right.
All you have to do is when that impact's coming, duck it down and just take it and keep your breath and hold it and know what's coming.
I'm a weenie. That was, I was worried about his neck. I was like, dude's going to need a Kairos.
When you watch it again next week, you'll see that it is backed up like this. And
okay.
I mean, his chin is tucked into his chest, and he's taking everything. You can feel that when it's coming down like that. And the analogy for the real sports person will be the rope-a-dope style. My analogy is this is like for Ali versus Frazier. To me, it's like this is Rocky 3 when Rocky fights Clubber Lang for the second time.
You love talking about Rocky.
Yeah, he's going to wear him out, and he wears him out in the first round.
Yes, absolutely.
And Kyle works his body around. When you're lanky, you can wrap around. You can get your leg in a certain way to. You can use your legs
like a snake.
Very much so. You can use it to manipulate their body parts or whatever else that you need to do. And Kyle's lanky.
I did see him with his legs, kind of. Yep.
And that's how he wins the first one.
Absolutely. And then after that, I feel like that was it because
the second one he waited his time too. When you watch it back again, you'll see that Ed pushes into him at this time. And when you watch it again, Kyle pushes back to him. Then Ed takes the pole and he hip tosses him, which is a wrestling move. He uses his momentum to toss Kyle down.
Right, I remember that.
And then they start their wrestling match. What Kyle does is he's so lanky, he can work his way around. And also watch Ed, and it's an incredible thing that he does. He actually lets go of the pole with one hand at one time and goes for a fireman's carry and throws Kyle. It was pretty impressive.
Wow.
But he goes back to the pole. But what Kyle's doing in that is he's wrapping his body around, and he ends up getting behind and to the point where his arms are around him, and he could get two. He could let go two as well, and he comes around his back.
Right.
Now he's got two arms on the pole, and he's either going to break a rib,
That's what I
or he's
going to
have to let go. And it was really impressive to watch that one. That was more of a wrestling match than the first one. So I really broke it down way too much.
That was really good. Yeah, I don't really know anything about wrestling. I cheered for wrestling one year. I don't know that I watched any of it. I was just doing our little cheers. So yeah, then Kyle won, and I was thrilled. As much as I love Ed, and he was charming and so much fun to be around, don't you dare take my Kyle. Don't you dare.
Okay.
He's got to stay. So I'm so happy.
He's got a kid on the way. He's got to stick around.
A kid, yeah. And kid is born. Crew, remember?
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
CJ. TJ then says, "This ends your time here for now." So essentially,
no, we really look forward to seeing you again. He gave two really.
Did he?
Yeah, he's like, I really look forward to seeing you again, or something like that.
Heck yeah.
Back to back. So he's on his way back. And Ed was great. Yeah, so.
And TJ kind of, calls him out. He's like, so you know who you just were against.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is like an ace at this. And he's like, well, I wanted a proper ass whooping. He just has such a good attitude.
He's good.
I just oh my God, that is like something that attitude I aspire to have. It is very impressive.
What happened in the first round of interviews for this that they let him slip through the thing? He was great to come in. And you have to be like, wow, we really hit a home run here. That was great. Thank goodness. Because he's going to be back.
Yes.
Yeah. And CT sends him off with a salute.
Yeah, he says, that's what you get for being a nice guy.
As he walks off. It's great, yeah.
I know, normally it's Nelly with the salutes,
This next thing is so goofy.
Oh my God, this is probably
tears.
Okay.
If I could cry, I would have tears or whatever else. You think that one? This next part is
okay. Before I even say it, I'm gonna say right now, this is my nominee for cringeworthy moment of the week.
Okay, then I got another one, but yeah, it's good. Yeah.
TJ asks,
"You got a decision to make,
Kyle, what he wants to do.
Do you want to return back to Ruby, or do you want to infiltrate and trade places with someone on Sapphire Emerald?"
Kyle says, my grandfather on his deathbed. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so sweet. This is going to be like a really moving whatever. My grandfather on his deathbed said that if I ever got a chance to join CT on Sapphire that I should do it or something like that.
If I ever have a chance to leave Team Ruby and join CT on Sapphire, I should do it. TJ thinks this is the funniest moment of 2021.
Which obviously, that's not true. It's made up. And then, but it was there was an awkward pause.
Yeah. And then TJ just laughs. We were pretty good at that. We didn't even practice that yet.
It was, oh my God, so uncomfortable. Kyle, I love you. But no, that was so weird.
And he said, sorry, Nelly.
Yeah, sorry, Nelly, you're going to Ruby.
Yeah.
Oh, there was TJ again.
Yeah, that was good. And
so, then we got Nelly and Corey together on a team.
Nelly's so angry about this, which I don't understand. I don't know. The Ruby looks like they're getting better.
Right.
I didn't really appreciate his response to it. I didn't think that was a snake move to do. And he says that.
He loves calling people snakes.
Yeah. CT was more genuine when CT's he's like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Correct. He's like, Kyle is disruptive.
Great word.
Which I thought was, yes. Mm-hmm. He's good, but he's a weasel.
Yeah.
Didn't think at all about our feelings, what it would be like if he moved over to our team. Mm-hmm. So...
And Corey's giving arm hugs to Nelly, I got Nelly too,
it's my boy. It's my bestie.
And Nelly's like, man, I'm not happy about it. Are you kidding
me? It's so weird.
I thought they'd be hugging and I were this is great.
Right, and I know that their plan last week was to stay separate for a little while.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is fine.
Yeah.
And then, previews for next week, Kyle and Nelly are going to get into it. They're basically making out close to close. I find that interesting when men do that, when they're getting ready to argue, when they're look like they're going to make out.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Or when Paulie would actually kiss him.
Oh, yeah.
That was interesting. That would really screw somebody, I bet.
Yeah.
Because I'm angry, like, why are you going to kiss me? And then also, CT and Emmy get into some sort of a screaming match, it sounds like at the bar.
She says, like, what happened to our relationship or something like that.
Oh,
like,
jeez.
It's like,
never mind.
Because he's Uncle CT, and you can already tell he's not having any of it, and she's just going to be overwhelming about the whole thing. So,
no, forget that then.
And then the challenge looks pretty good. It's more physical than it. I mean, the last one was physical, but this is really physical between people have to, like, hit each other with something.
What one was it?
The one that's coming up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the 500th episode.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
So, I mean, we've got Diamond Dash, and what's the other one that we just had?
It was Satellite Sabotage.
Is this one going to be like Fortune 500 and everyone gets a fortune, whoever team wins, or is it going to be more of like something
the
to
500 hustle?
Yes.
That's not very good.
No,
100 hustle.
They got to work on the next episode.
Yeah.
The title of whatever the challenge is, but it'll be something 500. I just don't know what for an agency you can use starts with an F. I don't know. Because we've got Diamond Dash.
Right.
I don't know. I still think Fortune 500, and they're like, well, last one was 3. We're going to give you guys each $500. Psych, it's $5,000, type of thing. T-Mobile's nice enough to add another 0 to your 500 type of thing.
Wouldn't it make sense if it's the 500th episode that part of the challenge has got to be some sort of like history of the game? Or
that would be really good.
It's got to be trivia, right? It has to be.
It doesn't look like it, but maybe it's a 2-parter. I don't know, and you can only go after you. That would be cool if they made it physical and you can only half of you or whatever else of your team or however does this.
Like you could chronologically put
then you go on to a
the
trivia.
100th of each episode. So the 100th episode, 200, 300, 400, like put them in chronological order.
Sure. So MTV, when you don't do this, call us and we'll help you out from here on out.
They can do it for their 512th episode.
That's right. We don't care. It does not have to be 500. We'll be right there. Yeah.
So I mentioned my cringe-worthy moment. What was yours?
It was Ed trying to figure it out. Like, I was burying my head, like, come on. Like, you knew it was down to these two the whole time. There's no way that it was like right away you're like, it's not Sapphire. So, like, you knew it was. It's like he couldn't read I really don't think he knew the history of the pole thing because Logan had already given him, like,
the rundown
and what to do, and he's like, yeah, I got this. And so it was just way too much for me, but again, the grandpa's deathbed thing was just kind of like, this joke does not hit.
No.
It wasn't like I was like, oh my goodness, people that are dying because of all over the place or whatever. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of like like my dad and my grandpa always said this, like, okay.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. Kyle won the episode for me. Absolutely, Kyle won.
That's a good one.
And I wrote it. Did you see?
Kyle wins.
And episode 2.
That's a good one. I really liked Amanda and her one-on-ones this episode. And I don't give her enough credit. I think that's why it stood out. Like, from the very first one, I was laughing out loud. I didn't care much about the birthing thing, but it was fine.
I mean, it ended up being the episode title.
And then she had a few more, and she's the one that come on, Ed, and I thought that was good. But I could see the Kyle, because he's all over the place. But then I was going to give... Kyle really is going to walk away with a lot from this episode, outside of $3,000 in P3 protein energy packs, because he lost that for him. But I think Stock is Rising is Kyle's baby.
Stock's rising for crew.
Got a lot of mentions tonight.
We're gonna get a lot. Yep, I agree. Stock is rising for the baby.
Yeah, that was mine. I was like, if someone's gonna get the Stock is Rising one, it's the baby. Ed's got it too. Even though it's a send off, Ed's gonna be back. I mean, it's a no brainer
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I guess what if we're doing if we're doing any gambling portion episodes or whatever else, now you need to set the odds on on the odds of like what team is going to win this, what team is going to come out of this. Like, how exactly does this whole thing work? Like, the final team gets to run the final together. Is that it? And so what color is it? Is it going to be emerald, sapphire, or ruby? Like, you have to set it. And when you set the lines like this, it's usually like the favorite would be something, a heavy favorite, and there's three teams, would be what we consider like minus 175, meaning you'd have to put up $175 to win 100.
Okay.
Right? So if you're a long shot, it'd be plus 150. I mean, if you bet 100, you would get 150 back. So Ruby right now would be the long shot.
Yes.
So I would put them somewhere. I'd put them around. I'd put them around plus 125. I think Nellie's going to be a nice addition there.
Yes.
Which one is the favorite? It's still Emerald, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll put them, as I said, plus 125. We'll put them at minus 175. I think they're a pretty heavy favorite right now.
Minus 175.
How do we feel about Sapphire? That's what I want to know. Is Sapphire...
Ruby is plus 175?
Plus 125.
And then Sapphire...
That's the
Jury's
thing.
still out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do you think they're more possible that they could win it? Or do you think it's like... Because I feel like they... Well...
I just don't know.
The destructive thing. In CT, when CT's not into it, it's not into it. So I would actually move them more to like a plus 105. So Emerald's pretty high. I hope Vegas is paying attention to this.
I think, as much as I love Kyle, it's true that losing Ed and gaining Kyle their team is kind of a little more rocky.
Yeah, I would have probably moved him at minus 110. Move Emerald to minus 150. Sorry, not 175. That's too high of a favorite there. So there's your gambling corner portion of the episode for that. Because I was wondering that, like, who's going to win that or whatever else. Yeah, any other over-unders that you have? After this one, mentioning your babies in an episode, I can't imagine an over-under any higher than this one. But it's got to be set now. Or how about your family members? Because
family members?
The Dracula talked about his family members. Logan talked about his family members. Nellie talked about his winning.
Big
This would
T.
be his for Big T. So a mention of family members. How many people are left now? You got 6, 5, and 5, right? 16. Is that right? Yeah, you had 16 left. Let's see if 16 are left. If 7 mention their family members at 2 a clip, over under. You said 16.
There's 16 people. I just circled 16.
I think the over-under mentions of your family, meaning if you mention it all, I have a kid on the way, or this is for my mom, or my dad taught me this, I think the over-under is at 14 mentions of family next episode.
14 mentions of family.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking 7 out of the 16 say something at least twice.
That's tough to call because tonight was so family heavy, but then there've been some where it's not so much. So I want to say less than that. I want to say more like 6.
Okay. You bet the under, all right?
Sarah, 6.
Over-under shots of Tori and the Dracula making out.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. For next episode, though. I got a good number in my head.
All right, what's your number?
1.5.
What does that even mean?
It means like there'll be something where they show them like in bed making out, and then another time like
how
randomly,
many times
randomly in like a bathroom.
How many times will
That's why, because the smart bet is under there. All right, you don't want to set it high. The smart bet's under, and it's just one time in a bed that they catch them or whatever else. Then you just get lucky, and it's a bad beat when they just Cameron just happens to see him walking down the hall and then. So.
Okay. Will Emmy want to go home after her argument with Uncle CT? Will she mention she wants to go home?
What is that? That's really good. If she does that, if we're betting going back to how much you would wager, that's probably minus 110 that she says yes. Meaning you have to put up 110 to win $100. And it's such a 50-50. I think they're both actually one. But I think it's probably we'll give the other one plus 105 if she says no. If she does not mention it, you know.
And what if she does?
God, she even mentioned her family today. She said something about her mom. She said, "I want my mom" when she was up on that satellite.
Oh yeah, she did.
They all did. Yeah, they really got into it this episode.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny because she was. They were getting ready to go up, and CT had just gone. And he was like yelling. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, Emmy, oh, it hurt my ribs.
Yeah, I think I broke some ribs.
And I don't know what kind of fish was in there, but like the bigger fish ate the other fish. Yeah. She's like, I want my mom.
Yeah. So
I do like when they do that, like a little bit, as long as it's not. I don't like when they go like, they're harness. I don't like when they do that.
Yeah.
You know. I think Wes has done that one before. I don't like that one because that one's like, no, like let's not like actually make them terrified for their lives. But yeah, making the little jokes like that, I'm all for it. Do we think an actual punch will happen between Kyle and Nellie? Just forget like the odds and the numbers because all of this is making my eyes go.
Yeah. I do not think, but I think I do not. One, Kyle is here for his family. I just have to one more time. Kyle's smart enough, and Nellie's been in too many of these that I think maturity to the challenge will get him, or Corey will step in and be like, "Yo, bro, you can't do this for Ruby." And this is all about Team Ruby, bro. I can't have you doing this. I need you to have your head on straight.
Yeah.
And if this is over, Kyle taking his spot.
So Devin, you think Devin would help get Kyle out of there?
No.
Even though they were dialed?
Yeah, no, I don't.
You think Corey's the only one that's going to help in the situation?
Yeah, Devin's not going to. Devin, listen, one person, Devin's smart enough. Another one leaves. One person leaves is one less guy he's got to be.
Right, true.
Work smarter, not harder.
True.
So you can fan the flames of that. Bananas would have done the same. What would Bananas do? And then we'll find out next episode. What would Bananas do in this episode? Not mention his family. He's there for himself. He wouldn't say like I'm doing this for my family. That's the only thing I was thinking too when I was. How many mentions are we gonna have? I'm like Bananas would never do that. That's what Bananas would do. He would never be like.
It's true.
Yeah. So. But like I said, it was a fun episode. It was different, and before we even got on the air, you just sat down and you're like, not a lot of drama, and I was like, I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. It was different because we've had so many episodes that were very, I would call it house heavy this season, and this was heavy challenge.
Yeah, and you know what? It's good to spend time on the challenge when everybody on the couch goes, I could do that. I think I could do that. And those are the fun ones because
this one, there's potential.
Sure, and then I could sit there and go like, I could do the pole.
Well, yeah, with your wrestling background.
And I was like, I could do that, but I don't want to do Hall Brawl. I'm telling you right now, it is not happening. And I don't really want to do the one where it's like drywall and you got to punch and kick your way through it. I don't want to do that climb up a thing. It's just not for me. Or anything with fire, I'm good with. So not doing. So that's what I liked about this one because everything was like, I could do that, and you need those every once in a while.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. What do you got for me otherwise? Oh, they did announce, just came out. So season 2 of All Stars premieres on Veterans Day. So you'll have to watch it a day late because you're going to see Rocky at the director's cut.
Yeah, that's right.
Big Rocky fan.
I can't wait.
So that's November 11th. So that's just getting ready to air. It'll be once a week, 10 episodes. But they announced that they're starting filming season 3.
Okay.
And there's some spoilers out. Apparently they're filming in Panama. People either just left or getting ready to leave. And they said that Bananas and Wes are going to be there. So I'm trying not to get too excited. Well, it's too late. I'm excited. I love the idea of that. There were other people that were really cool too, but those are I think Jordan.
Okay. Oh.
But and people are upset with him because he's gotten into some trouble for saying inappropriate things. I think maybe racist. So I don't really want to touch much on that because I really don't know, but I need to research
Trust
it.
me, they'll be brought up before this comes out.
But Wes and Bananas. Heck yeah, I'm excited about that. And to see them with like the people that they, started the challenge with. That's really exciting to think about. So hopefully that's not garbage and that really is happening. I am curious how that's going to work with, because, I like to listen to Bananas podcast. I've only been talking about it for 3 weeks, but I finally said it out loud and it felt weird. But yes, my name is Sarah Klinger and I like listening to Bananas podcast. But with that being said, when they're filming, will he be able to film it? I mean, he's got to be able to do it because he's got to have contracts with other things that allow him that time, right?
There's something.
Because what am I going to do? Because apparently this is a big deal to me.
I don't know what the content or what his deal is with The Ringer, and you can listen to it on Spotify. But when Bonanza had Bill Simmons on his initial podcast. They said you're going to go back and we've already talked about this, but you're going to go back and do old episodes or whatever else. And I'm sure they just said, like, can you hammer out 19 episodes in this many days, however long? You said that this next one is only 10 episodes, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, it'll be like double that. Yeah, they'll have it for when he's gone. They'll have content to fill in when he's gone or whatever else. So, and then it will just seem seamless that he was never really gone at all.
Right. Well, and he gets to lucky duck. He gets to preview the shows. Like, we gotta like hustle our butts like after work, watch the show, not script it because. Not edit it because, you know, and then post it in hopes that it's up before midnight, you know, so that people can see it while it's still current. He gets to watch it the day before and film early, and then he's the first one out.
Because of Simmons and Jacoby, they got to do it too.
Right? So lucky ducks. Well, I mean, he kind of earned that opportunity. We're just people in Iowa.
That's right.
Well, thanks for checking us out tonight. Follow us, Final Alliance 1 on Twitter. Final Alliance on Instagram, on YouTube, we're Final Alliance Podcast. Please subscribe to us if you could. And on Spotify or anywhere that you get your podcast, we are Final Alliance Podcast.
And thanks again to Skylark. And hey, hit us up on comments and let us know what you think the name of this challenge is going to be. It's 500 something. We think it will have something to do with 500. It's 500th episode. So we've had Diamond Dash and
Satellites.
Spies, not Spy. Satellites.
Oh, for the love.
That. No, it's fine.
Satellite Sabotage.
All right, so yeah, hit us up and I think if it has something, and give us funny ones, even if it doesn't have something to do with
Oh my gosh, that would be great, please.
So yeah, give us what you think the name of the challenge will be. Right on. Great episode.